Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Pick Six, the podcast by the Attractions Group. This is where we bring you the latest and top stories of the attractions and amusement industry.
Well, before we delve into this week's Pick Six, let me remind our listeners where they can tune into the Attractions Group podcast. Catch us on all your favorite podcast apps. Be sure to like us on Facebook, follow us on X, and subscribe to our YouTube channel. That's probably the best place to watch the Pick Six is on YouTube. Ryan, what do we got to get us started?
The only place to watch the Pick Six, but yeah, you're missing out a lot if you do the audio only. So check us out on YouTube, like Don said. But let's start with story number one, and so this is something that nobody's talking about. So Cedar Fair and Six Flags announced on Wednesday that the regulatory conditions for the previously announced merger of equals has been satisfied, allowing the companies to proceed with closing the merger. The parties expect the closings to occur on July 1st, which is a Monday, following the satisfaction of the remaining customary closing conditions. So much to say about that. But, I mean, I think that the biggest takeaway, though, that people should see is that we're probably not going to see much different this year. Next year might be a different story.
Think so. I agree. Yeah, it'll be 2025 before you start to see the integration of the two companies together. I think what I'm excited about is if you take what each side does best and put it together, I think you're going to have a really, really good company, and the guests are going to benefit that way. Cedar Fair, very good, operators. You've got Six Flags a little ahead of the game, technology wise, but just taking what each company does best and merging that together, I think that can be a really good thing.
Agreed. What's next?
Well, TripAdvisor officials named Dollywood as the #1 theme park in the United States and the #10 theme park in the world. Now, it's a pretty big place. During the 2024 Traveler's Choice Best of the Best Awards, the park continues to gain unprecedented momentum when it comes to earning top awards in the theme park industry. The award was calculated based on the quality and the quantity of traveler reviews and ratings posted on TripAdvisor during the 12-month period that started April 1st, 2023 through March 31st, 2024. Now, the United States top 10 is Dollywood #1, Disney's Magic Kingdom in Orlando #2, Fun Spot America in Kissimmee, Florida #3. #4 is Universal's Islands of Adventure. #5, Fun Spot America in Orlando. #6, Disney's Hollywood Studios. #7, Legoland in California. #8, Knoebels Amusement Resort. That's in Pennsylvania. #9, Busch Gardens, Tampa, Florida. And #10, Whale's Tail Water Park in Lincoln, New Hampshire. But Dollywood, it's the only park in North America to make the international top 10 list.
Yeah, the Whale's Tail Water Park is definitely the Cinderella story, making that top 10. I've never even heard of them. It's funny because it's almost bigger news if Dollywood doesn't get an award that week, isn't it? It seems like
they're having a banner year. It seems like every week there's a new accolade, and it's well deserved.
Yeah, absolutely. So congratulations to Dollywood, well deserved. Speaking of sweet parks, but it's a sweet year at Hershey Park as 2024 marks the golden anniversary of Hershey characters at Pennsylvania's largest amusement park. Hershey Park, uniquely dedicated to fun and chocolate, features 3 parks in one. It is the only amusement park in the world with life-size chocolate-inspired characters, rides themed around iconic Hershey Company brands, delectable chocolate treats, and ride height categories named after candy brands. That's a weird flex, but okay. But for 50 years, Hershey characters have created cherished memories for generations of visitors. The original Hershey product characters made their debut at Hershey Park in 1974. Today, guests often encounter the beloved Hershey's bar, Kiss, Reese. So I guess it's just Reese, not Reese's. Jolly Rancher and Twizzler throughout the park. During seasonal events like Hershey Park Halloween and Christmas Candyland, these characters don festive attire, including capes and scarves, adding to the holiday cheer. So, yeah, it's funny. I've never been to Hershey Park, but I'm familiar with all these characters. I mean, obviously, the candy bars make it a little easier to remember them, but Very unique characters. For those of you watching on YouTube, this Reese's peanut butter cup guy, a little creepy, but kind of fun in the same regard.
That was the first character I encountered. My first visit to Hershey Park was in 1984, and I just thought that was so cool to see, like you said, the Reese's mascot. You saw the Hershey's bar, the Kiss. They didn't have Jolly Rancher back then but at least I remember. And but it was just really cool to see, these as characters, because I was used to Hanna-Barbera Land, going to Coney Island and Kings Island, and that's what I had seen. So, they're very much woven into the fabric of your visit to Hershey Park.
Yeah, cool. All right, next up.
King's Dominion has announced the addition of the Food and Wine Festival to its 2024 season events in the Old Virginia section starting August 2nd. Now, guests will have the opportunity to enjoy a wide selection of exceptional wines from vineyards across the Commonwealth, paired with specialty prepared foods. The menu will feature a charcuterie board with lavender honey, a flight of 3 spreads, flatbreads with whipped herb goat cheese. If you haven't had goat cheese, this is your opportunity there at King's Dominion. A fondue dipping option and sweets plate with chocolate cherries, figs, and wrapped dates. In addition to food and wine, the festival will showcase live local bands, roaming entertainers like a barbershop quartet, lawn games for kids, and giant paint-by-the-number murals where everyone can be an artist. The festival will take place on Fridays, Saturdays, and Sundays from August 2nd to August 25th. So it looks like a really good event taking place at King's Dominion in August.
Yeah, as we wrap up the one at Kings Island this coming weekend as of this recording, but the event is very cool. I mean, I didn't do any wine. I'm not a big wine drinker, but the decor and stuff is beautiful. And King's Dominion really kind of has like a really good touch when it comes to like the details and stuff. So I imagine this event is going to be fantastic for them. So
it should be.
Yeah, so try to make it out to King's Dominion August 2nd through the 25th. Food and wine on Fridays, Saturdays, and Sundays. Moving along. Next. Yeah, this is interesting. So Walt Disney World, the Genie is back in the bottle for good. Announced on Tuesday, the current Genie Plus system will be replaced by 2 new systems starting July 24th, Lightning Lane Multipass and Lightning Lane Single Pass. Guests will be able to reserve rides and shows ahead of time instead of having to wait for the park's days. There will be no price increase related to these changes. That's a bold statement because there's always price increases when it comes to Disney. But, I've had a lot of people ask me what I thought of this. I don't know because I haven't tried it yet, obviously. Being able to reserve ahead of time, I do see the value in that. But at the same time, that means that their inventory of spots for, some of your favorite rides will dry up days ahead of time rather than, trying to reserve it first thing in the morning. So
I think what they did here, I mean, it's same thing, just different name. I think they simplified it. The name kind of paints a better picture now. Multi-pass, single pass. I think it's just an easier way for the guest to understand what it means.
Yeah, I mean, the big change is that you can reserve in the future. It used to be starting at 7 a.m. local time. Or there.
Well, that's a huge game changer there to be able to do that in advance of your visit. I think, what is it, 7 days out, 14 days that you can do?
I don't know what it is now. 7 days in advance, according to the slide that we have up here. But it used to be you could do it like months in advance, which I think that's a little insane. But yeah, I mean, next time I go down there will be after this program's implemented because it's coming, pretty soon.
Right.
So I'll let you know how it goes.
Yeah, my daughter's going to be down there just before this takes place.
Yeah. Okay, next up.
The Penguin Trek roller coaster is scheduled to debut on July 7th in the newly opened Antarctica realm at SeaWorld Orlando in Florida. The new ride will feature 2 launch sequences and a snowmobile-themed cars that travel across a 3,020-foot-long track at speeds up to 43 miles per hour. I think this is pretty cool, Ryan.
Yeah, I think it's going to be great. I like the old Penguin experience, and that never reopened after COVID, but this is using part of its building and stuff. So I think it's going to be awesome. I always thought it was ironic that at SeaWorld you can walk through, the South Pole with glaciers and stuff.
Mhm.
Meanwhile, it's 96 degrees with a heat index of 190. So
Yeah.
I always thought
Theming
that was
wise, this looks really good, doesn't it?
it's going to be great. It's going to be a huge win for them. The Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I need to give SeaWorld a little bit more attention because the last time I went there, I just hit the highlights. I went to we rode the surf coaster and icebreaker and then pretty much left. So gonna have to try this one out. I think it opens 43 miles an hour, opens July 7th. So that's about a week from now, a little over a week from now. So very, very exciting. But
Yeah, I know a lot of friends of mine that are very excited about it and can't wait to visit SeaWorld in Orlando and check it out.
okay, let's move on to the listener questions. So the first listener question from Tammy F from Oakland, California. Tammy said, if the proposed Six Flags and Cedar Fair merger closes as expected, do you think that changes the fate of California's Great America and it doesn't close in a few years? That's a fair question. What do you think, Don?
It's a great question. I think in some ways, I mean, and you look at both sides of it. I think in some ways it can, prolong it. Maybe it's around for the long haul. I think they're still investing in the park. Cedar Fair has been and hasn't been like, when you go there, you wouldn't think that it's on the clock or anything because they keep investing.
Mm-hmm.
So hopefully, they see it as a great opportunity. It's a great market. So I would hope that this will enhance the opportunity that it's there for the longer run.
I hope so too. But the reality is we're talking about a much bigger company with a park that's probably small potatoes just based on how it's been treated over the past 20 years or so. And pouring out extra money onto a park where there's no equity in the land. They've sold the land.
Right. So that's the one thing that is the negative to all this, that if the new Six Flags does decide to close some parks or sell off some parks, this one could be one of the first ones that would go just because of the situation.
Yeah, I mean, if they're making money hand over fist, like they're gonna do what they need to do to make money. But if this one is, I don't think that Cedar Fair would have entertained the option of closing it or selling it or any of that stuff if this made any kind of meaningful impact on the balance sheet. That's the way I see it. So I'm sorry, Tammy. I think it's going to close possibly sooner than planned now because of this.
Yeah, like I said, I can see that. I do. I mean, but I hold out hope that that doesn't happen.
Yeah, I mean, it's one of those situations where I hope I'm wrong.
I'm a believer that hope is a good thing.
Right. Leonard W. said from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania says, when are you guys going to be at Kennywood? Don, you've got a trip planned.
I'm going to be there soon. Summer is slipping by fast. I mean, hard to believe next week we're already in July. I've got the first week of July, I'll be pretty tied up. I'm going to Six Flags Great America in Chicago. And then at the end of the week, 4th of July weekend, I'll be in New York for Six Flags Great Escape. I think after I come back from that, so probably the third week in July to August 1st range would be when I would hope to get to Kennywood. I want to go more than once, so I would definitely want to go there at some point in July, early August, and I think Labor Day weekend. I went there last year. Labor Day weekend, had a fantastic time, and I also want to check out the Halloween events. So even though I won't get there until a few weeks from now for my first visits of the year, I still think I'll still have 3 or 4 different visits by the time their season closes.
Yeah, I'll help you. Hopefully I'll be able to join you for one of those. But great question,
Ryan. You
Leonard.
should. I mean, it's
I've been there
you
before.
weren't
It's been
around.
a long time.
Yeah, but I mean, it's to me, it's a throwback. It kind of rekindles memories of what it was like when I was first introduced to amusement parks with Cincinnati's Coney Island. I like the old school charm that it still has. I love the wooden roller coasters. They got some good food. It's just one of those parks that's kind of special to me.
Yeah, very cool. All right. So I guess that wraps up another Pick Six. Make sure that you follow us on all your favorite podcast apps, Apple, Google, Spotify. You know the drill. We're on YouTube by searching for the Attractions Group podcast, and follow us on X at attractions_GRP. We'll see you next week, everybody.